Alright guys, how are we all doing? Tornado922 here. It's a bit later than I wanted to do this by a couple of days, so by the time this actually goes out you'll be knocking on the door of 3 weeks since I asked you to submit your questions, and I want to thank all 188 of you for your questions. So as you can appreciate, this is going to be in multiple parts, and I shall be answering the first batch of questions first. This is going to be a waiting game for a lot of you. So if your question hasn't been answered in this part, then you'll have to wait for part 2, and I imagine there will be a part 3 to follow up as well. You join me in the office that isn't the car, in the living room instead, the living room office. I have many offices, you see, I'm just a office kind of guy. I have the trusty phone with the trusty charger. You'll have to forgive me if I'm doing this and looking here, because I'm seeing myself here. The camera is there, but the way my screen operates, I want to look at myself. So you must forgive me if I do this very thing. Right, so we're going to kick things off from Dillian Coles, Flying Scotsman or Mallard. Both famous in their own respective rights. We'll go with Flying Scotsman on the basis that she's in active service. The Magic Tank Engine. Nice name. Favourite station to spot at and favourite train. Favourite station to spot at is a difficult one because I kind of have a favourite station at... Cool, Hubburn. I have a favourite station for each main line, so that's kind of a difficult question to answer. In terms of favourite train, that's easier to answer because I will break it down into types and purposes they serve. So for intercity services, it will be the HST 125. For regional commuter services, it will be the Class 321. For mainline freight, it'll be a toss-up between the 70 and the 68. And for international travel, it'll be the 373 that work for Eurostar. Okay, and top and tail vlogs. What would be your favourite loco? Kind of broke it down in that previous one. I guess favourite loco of all time would be the 37. Right, Lothian Bus Gamer 21. If you were a train driver, what company would you work for? Probably Avanti West Coast, as that's my local intercity service, really. John McGee, have you ever been to Yatton Station in North Somerset? Nope, never been there. There are probably, quite literally, thousands of stations across the UK that I have yet to go and say hello to. Rob's Transport Photography, what do you record on? Do love your videos, by the way. Well, thank you very much for saying so. That is greatly appreciated. I record on a Samsung Galaxy tablet, not too dissimilar from what I'm currently recording this on, except the one I do my Trains app videos on, the video quality is significantly better. The only reason I do the Q&As on here is because I can record slightly longer videos before having to stop and start again. Lothian Bus Gamer 21 again, what is your favourite station? I answered that in a previous one. It's difficult to break it down unless you go onto each main line, really. Ferry Hill Train Spotter, what kind of mask do you wear for doing your spotting sessions? I think I have one here. Bear with me, I'm going to do one of those fancy cutaway clips, so you're going to see me wearing it in a moment. Bear with me. This is what I wear. Branded one. So it's backwards, but Tornado 922. And the way that this face mask is designed, it's a bit of a funny one. You've got the front end of Tornado here, the back end there. It works. And when will you be coming back up to the north, i.e. Newcastle or Durham? I'm not too sure as to when I'll be doing those. Within the next few weeks, I will be going up to York, Leeds and Doncaster. So I may incorporate a trip to, be it Darlington or Newcastle around a similar time. I'll take that off. Right, Michael Russell. Can you film at Blackpool North, and what station do you like the most on the West Coast Main Line? I've heard stories of Blackpool North. I've heard that the station staff aren't overly fond of people train spotting there, so I'm not too sure really what the state of affairs currently is. Station on the West Coast Main Line that's my favourite. I have a real love affair with Leighton Buzzard. It's my original hometown. But I do love Carlisle. I mean, Carlisle is certainly up there. The Wirral Train Spotter. Hi mate, hope you're well. Will you be able to do more spotting on heritage railways, i.e. diesel or steam galas? I'm doing very well, thank you. I trust that you're doing equally as well yourself. Now, a lot of people have actually asked me about doing more heritage railways because they feature very, very rarely on my channel. The simple answer to your question is yes. I have multiple that I want to do, throughout the remainder of this year. This coming weekend, the 5th of September, I'm going to be at the Great Central Railway for their diesel gala. I'm also going to be doing the Nen Valley Railway's Autumn Steam and Diesel galas, and I will be doing the Great Central Railway Steam Gala as well. So that's 4 guaranteed heritage railways that I'm going to be covering. Now, I've been to the Great Central Railway already this year for their Railways at Work Gala, so I know exactly where I'm going to be standing to capture all of the action. I'm actually going to be going to Corn and Woodhouse Station, which is my personal favourite of the entire route, and I'm going to be standing on the platform or even down by the ramp to catch the comings and goings, so I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, slow line train spotting. What was your favourite livery on any train in the UK? Transpennine is pretty much up there. You might be too young to remember, but on the 321s there used to be First Great Eastern, and that was really, really nice. Very nice livery indeed. I also had quite a good love affair with Silverlink. I loved that livery, but current, I'd go for Transpennine. Yeah, I can go away. Daniel Stevenson, do you plan on going to York Station again? I, oddly enough, answered that one. Joanne Purday, I apologise in advance to anybody if I get these names wrong. And I'll also just say that if you guys ask not too dissimilar questions that I feel I've already answered already, I will read out your question, but I will just mention that it has been basically previously answered. Right, so, do you like... Sorry. Oh, right, hello, yes. Do you like the Class 390119 in the Pride livery? It's vibrant. There's a lot of colours going on. You're not going to lose it in a car park, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't dislike it. It does its purpose very well. It certainly stands out in the crowd. I think Avanti have definitely hit the nail on the head with the whole LGBT community. Yeah, they've done well with that one. It's a good livery. You can see it a mile off. It really is good. Whereas a lot of other companies just sort of stick a rainbow on the front and hey presto. I mean, I'll give Avanti their due. They really did well on sticking a amazing colour scheme on that 390. The 390 seems to suit the more, I choose the word carefully, obscure liveries. They seem to sort of suit everything. Daniel Thompson, what is your least favourite train seat? The film hasn't been released yet, but I travelled from London Paddington to Reading on a Class 387. I filmed at Reading, and that film will be coming out in the coming week. The 387s for Great Western Railway are horrible. They're rock solid. They are not nice at all. R Trains UK, what is your favourite heritage railway? I'd have to say it's the Severn Valley. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Nen Valley, perfectly acceptable. Great Central Railway, is amazing, but the Severn Valley just hits the nail on the head. Their station architecture, the way everything is maintained on the line, the rolling stock, the scenery, it's the perfect heritage railway in my mind. I've still got loads I want to go to, but that one, as it stands, is up there. Matt Lester, hi to Snowden922. Will you do a sleeper train review like the one to Scotland and to Cornwall? As I think your review will be good on video. I've actually really given it some serious thought about wanting to take the Night Riviera from Paddington to Penzance and the Caledonian sleeper from London to Glasgow or Edinburgh. I'd probably go to Glasgow. I'll probably book a cabin. Well, you would book a cabin because I'd want to actually, have a kip on there and try out all the facilities on board. I wouldn't mind giving it a review. I think my commentary style could certainly pay great dividends. It would break up the norm from the standard reviews that you see on YouTube. Not to say that those reviews are bad. I mean that they're perfectly good in their own respective ways. But I think me giving it my own little blend could certainly go down rather well. Owen Jedi 5000. When is Transport Fever 2 Transport in the Tropics coming back? I'm actually glad you mentioned that because during the lockdown when I couldn't go out doing transporting, I brought gaming to the channel. Okay, it wasn't doing anywhere near as good as my Transats. I never expected it to. But, they gained some momentum and they actually had a decent following behind them. And I will start bringing those back in the coming weeks. I will start bringing back Train Simulator. I will start bringing back the Halo content. I'll start bringing back Among Us because that game's been getting some updates and it is cracking. And I'll also bring back Transport Fever or Transport Fever 2 because I've got a lot of mods and I've found an interesting mod that means that I can make longer playthroughs without the game starting to stutter. It's a cracker. Old Black Cow. Interesting. Planning on having kids? Well, one day. Owen Jodo 5000. Will the Class 3873 units... Sorry. Will the Class 3873 units will go to Great Northern? I don't know. CPR1234. Do you think the Class 68s will be considered iconic if they are still around in 20 to 30 years' time? Their grunts can be amazing. I'd love to see the 68s hanging around for another 20 to 30 years. Whether or not they do remains to be seen. Obviously, a lot of the network around the UK is, getting into the realms of electrification. Some routes may remain diesel, but you never know. It depends really what Chiltern are going to be doing. Because the story is that their 68s, they're actually going to get shot of them in the coming years. Obviously, you've got TransPennine have got a fairly good bulk of them running around with their Mark V sets, and you also got DRS running around with a healthy fleet. Now, DRS could very well keep them. Obviously, they've got the 88s as well. So yeah, I think they will become iconic if they are still around in 20 to 30 years, much like the Class 37s. They're old girls, but they're still plying their trade quite happily. Madeline, could you do stations on the North Downs line? I could certainly give it a go. Right, the random Southampton fan. I think he might be a Southampton fan. It's a thing. Right, he's got 4 questions here. 2 are rail related and 2 are non-rail related. So, the rail related questions are: number 1, what is your favourite station on the Great Western Main Line? I'm going to have to go with 3. It's a toss-up between Didcot Parkway, Reading, and Bristol Temple Meads. 2, what country outside of Europe do you want to visit and see their trains? I've been to America a couple of times, but I want to go and film on the North East Corridor. That's a real ambition of mine. Non-related, number 1, what football team do you support? Manchester United. 2, what was your overall thoughts on the Tokyo 2020 Olympics if you watched them? I didn't watch all of the games, I only watched a handful. It's a pity that there was no crowd there, but COVID in Japan is getting really terrible at the moment. a lot of the motorsports, Formula One and MotoGP, have subsequently cancelled their rounds there in their championships. Same with the Intercontinental GT Challenge. They've cancelled their, I think it's the 6, 7, it might be the 12 hours of Suzuka. They've cancelled that, which is a massive shame. But yeah, I think they did well in the Olympics. Team GB obviously did superb. Swimming, we did absolutely outstanding. The triathlon was that was a curious one with the whole issue with the boats at the very start of proceedings, but overall it wasn't too bad. Owen Juddo 5000, what will happen to train operators after their franchises get scrapped in 2026? Oh, I don't know. There's you hear stories all the time of the doom and gloom that's going to happen with these. I mean, in an ideal world, when the railways get taken back over into public ownership, rail fares will be significantly reduced. Because what you've only got to do, you've got to look at the rail system in Europe and see how they're doing things. Rail travel in Europe is dirt cheap. An idea from this. Last year, I was in Seville and I took a first class train travel from Seville to Madrid, and it was €150, and that was first class. Now, if I wanted to go from Milton Keynes to Glasgow Central, return standard class for the Vanity West Coast, it would probably cost me £150. In fact, Ellen Yard would probably not be too dissimilar from doing, say, Peterborough to Newcastle, or even Edinburgh for that matter. So my ambition, it actually is an ambition, that rail fares will be significantly reduced because they are monstrously expensive. They're far too expensive for what they are. I know that, the rail fares go towards the upkeep of the trains, the line, staff wages, all that jazz, but, excuse me, it's far too expensive. Where are we? Right, interesting. D skills. Would you do one of your trains in Sutton, Surrey, or Kingston? Yeah. Yeah, I can. Susan Hawker, can you do a video on the Midland Main Line, please? Also, love your vids. Well, thank you very much for saying so. That is greatly appreciated. I have actually got 3 videos coming up from the Midland Main Line. There will be from Kettering, Leicester, and Nottingham. All 3 are excellent and offer something unique in every single one, including dodgy camera work, interesting commentary, the norm, basically. As things stands, I've got a decent backlog of films coming out, and I'm doing them once every week, just to keep things going. I may resort to working on 2 films per week, depending on the backlog I currently have. Raf the Train Spotter, what's the best train tones you heard on your videos? Well, the ones that stand out for me are the Icklemore Bat Tap one I had at Oxford a few months ago, and also a few years ago when I was at Nuneaton. I think for the first time I had a Freightliner 66 coming through, and the driver behind that gave it some serious Watt 4 on the tones, and it was an absolute cracker. It really was. Owen Jodo 5000 again. Oh, you're getting popular. After the COVID restrictions finally end, will there be no more face coverings on trains? Well, the restrictions themselves basically have all been lifted. It's basically down now to public discretion as to whether or not they want to wear face coverings on trains. I know in London they're still mandatory, but personally for me, I'm still going to keep wearing a mask in busy, crowded areas. Jack's transport videos, can you please come back up to Newcastle? As I mentioned earlier, I do want to go back up there, I'm just not sure when that's going to be. Owen Jodo 5000, do you miss the Class 365 units? It'll be a shame when they go, but the rumour mill is in full swing that they're going to somehow get brought back in again, so we have no idea what's happening with that one, so time will tell. Joseph Tribe, what's your favourite DMU out of these 4? 153, 155, 158, 195. Well, I've travelled on... In fact, I've travelled on the 195 and I've travelled on the 158. Both are amazing, but the 158 is incredibly spacious inside and really comfortable. And even though it's an older model, it's incredibly quiet. However, the 153 is very iconic because the 153 is just a split 155, which is why one of the cab sections in the 153 is incredibly small. Fun fact. Owen Jedi 5000, what will happen to the Class 379 units after they leave Greater Anglia? Oh, they'll find some life somewhere. Robert Green 89, how often do you make the videos and how do you put up with the rain? How often do I make videos? Traditionally, I go out and do rush hour films every Friday up until the evenings get to the point where it's too dark to do anything. Other than that, it's usually every Saturday I'll go out and do some filming, but sometimes I'll have weekends where I just want to stay at home, just play some games, watch TV, and just generally relax. And sometimes with the rain, a lot of the stations I go to offer good protection with station canopies and covers and what have you. So a lot of the time I can stand underneath covers and remain dry. Other times, if I'm out in the rain, well, I've just got to suck it up, buttercup. Intrepid Mike, here is my question. If mud baths are so good for the skin, then why are elephants so wrinkly? It's a good question. The answer for that is, I really am not too sure. I would probably go to a zoo and ask one of the zookeepers that question, because without me going onto the old internet and doing some old tippity-tippeting and doing some research, I honestly wouldn't know. I have watched enough nature programs to actually know the answer, and I'm actually convinced I do know the answer, but I don't want to say anything in case I am completely wrong, so I'm going to go on plain ignorance and say best go and talk to someone who specialises in the care and well-being of elephants. Good question though. Robert Green 89, are we going to see any Train Sim 21 videos? Yes, I will be bringing those back in. NYC Kid 38 LOL. I've got a GCSE grade essay here. Right, bear with me. Hi to 922, how are you doing? What is your opinion on South Western Railway scrapping the 442s? And are you going to miss them? I don't think they should have scrapped them because they are basically just got them refurbished and started service, and I will miss them because they are my favourite EMUs. Yeah, I think South Western Railway are complete morons, personally. Apologies, by the way, if any of you do work for South Western Railway. You've gone and forked out millions on refurbishing these trains, only for you to then decide to get them completely scrapped and then upgrade much older 458s. Now, I love the 458s, so, well done. But I think it was folly of you to go and fork out however many millions it was to refurbish these sets, only for you to then go, I don't know what, we're going to scrap them because they've got some problems. Every train's going to have problems, be it new, old. There's teething problems that you have to get through. I think it was daft of you to go and do that. Again, I apologise to anyone who works for South Western Railway who watches this. I'm not having a pop at you. I just think that it was a daft decision to go and chuck all that money at a refurbishing programme, only for that to be wasted, really. Because now what's happening, while the 442s are being returned back to Wolverton Works where they were done, the traction motors are being taken out, then the empty shells are being road hauled by Allalees or taken by rail to the various cutting sites to be turned into race blades, car keys, zips, false teeth, computers, TVs, or even your nan's walking stick. I don't know why it'd be your nan's walking stick, but meh, it works. Right, Charlie Delaney, are you planning to do any videos on heritage railways, such as the Severn Valley Railway, Great Central Railway, etc.? Actually answered that question already, my good man. East Midlands Railway fan, hi to 922, two questions. Number one, what do you think to when you hear the open access operator East Coast trains, and do you think they will be successful when they start running in passenger service? The early reports suggest that this first East Coast are going to be absolutely amazing, offering incredibly low-cost fares from Edinburgh to London. I think that's going to be incredibly successful, and I suspect they may have to actually ask to get more trains put in and their timetable lengthened, because I can imagine they're going to be giving LNER good run for their money. 2. How do you get the 180 numbers on the Grand Central 180s? Basically, for your pure luck, you've got to look at the lower half of the couplings, and the numbers actually underneath there. Whereas most trains have it on the front or the side of their trains, Grand Central have this belief where if you stick it on the underneath of the coupling system, you can actually read it, which sometimes I can, and other times it can be a little bit haphazard. Right, Sam's travel vlogs in the northeast of England. Hi to 922, just 2 questions by me. Oh, I don't know. Number 1, what is your favourite station on the East Coast Main Line? I've got a real love affair with York. I love York for its architecture. Doncaster is amazing because of the variety you get. And Leeds is just completely bonkers. So it's kind of a toss-up between them. But then you've got Peterborough, which is just as amazing. And 2, when are you able to do trains at Newcastle, as it has been a few years since you were there? Yeah, it's been, 8 years? Could be more since I was at Newcastle. But again, I have asked that already. I will try and get there some stage this year. The train spotter. I have 2 questions. 1, how did you get into train spotting? When I was but a wee lad, I would go visit my grandparents when my mum was at work. So she'd drop me off first thing in the morning, or she would go to work, take me to her place of work first thing in the morning. My grandparents would meet me. I would then go back to their place for the day. And they lived in Leighton Buzzard, right adjacent to Leighton Buzzard railway station. So I'd see trains coming back and forth all the time. I also had Thomas the Tank Engine, and there was a model railway that my grandparents had that I would play with as well. So really, from an early age, I was besotted by trains. And it's just been a love affair ever since. And 2, do you prefer the HST or the Class 68, and why? Well, they're 2 completely different. I mean, the HST is iconic, Nothing can ever replace the HST. But the 68s are outstanding in their own right, because they're multi-purpose. They're amazing for freight and passenger workings. So the HST is completely iconic and will never ever be replaced and never be beaten. But then the 68 is absolutely incredible. Joshua Millard, will you return to some stations that you did a few years ago? Example, Wolverhampton. Yes, I do want to go back to Wolverhampton because the station has been refurbished for many a year, because it was actually in the process of getting refurbished when I filmed there. So I will go there at some point and do a film from there. JM Railways 801, hi Tornado 922, what do you prefer, the Night Riviera or the Caledonian Sleeper? Well, I haven't travelled on them yet, so I don't really have a preference, but because, even though they're both sleeper trains, they go on 2 completely different routes. Now I know, in the pitch black you're not going to see them, but I do want to travel on both. I imagine the Riviera would be quite pleasant, but I know the Caledonian is excellent from the reviews that I've seen. Tatey's trains. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crikey, I've got 5 questions here, and where are we? 28 minutes. I should be able to get these through, no problems. Tornado, I have a couple of questions for you. You have 5. That is not a couple. Number 1, will you consider filming or film again at locations on the Chiltern Main Line North? On the North/Snow Hill lines. For example, Leamington, Stratford-upon-Avon to Kidderminster, or one of the Worcester stations. If you do Stourbridge Junction, in that I'm sure you will enjoy possibly meeting George the Station Cat. Well, when I went to Stourbridge Junction, I was incredibly disappointed at the lack of traction. All I was seeing were Class 172s every other minute. And then that people parry mover thing, which is just horrid. I won't ever go there, but I will go to Leamington Spa. I haven't been there for quite some time, but it is a gorgeous station. So I will be doing that. I will do Birmingham Moor Street, as that is a great station to go to as well. 2. Will you upload many more going videos often? Hey. Will you upload many more going videos often? If so, could you continue with more of what you already do and possibly try out NIMBY Rails too? Oh, gaming videos, I presume you mean. Right, okay. Yes, no, gaming videos will be making a comeback. NIMBY Rails, now I've looked at various YouTube channels who have covered NIMBY rails. It's not my cup of tea. I don't think it's something I could really get my teeth into and thoroughly enjoy. 3. What are your opinions on boys on social media and the internet? Well, that's a bit of a weird question, to be fair. What's my opinions on boys on social media? I'm not sure what you're angling at on that one, so you'll forgive me for not answering it, because I'm not too sure what it is you're asking me, because everybody's on social media these days, and people use social media for the powers of good, and some use it for the powers of bad, depending on, how they are. So I'm not too sure really what you're angling at on that one. And the internet, well, again, the internet is an incredible place. Unfortunately, it's a place for idiots to go and hide behind, and become little keyboard warriors. So, again, it's like anything. It's much like social media. Social media can be an amazing place. It can be filled with wonderment and joy. And in other times, social media can be a place for cyberbullies to hide behind, because it gives them a sense of entitlement and powerfulness, when in another world they are utterly pathetic human beings. They really are. 4. What is your favourite livery in the past or present? In terms of liveries, I've actually answered that one already. 5. Do you have a favourite video on your channel? If so, which one? Do you have a favourite YouTube channel for train videos at all? A favourite video of my own? It's a funny one. I usually watch back all of my videos after I've uploaded them, just to see if there's any mistakes in them. Now, why I don't do this in the editing suite is beyond me. I tend to upload the video and then go, oops, I made a boo-boo. I know my latest rugby one was good. My last one from Didcot Parkway, I really enjoyed watching that one back. My Rush Hour film from a couple of years ago at London King's Cross, I enjoyed that one quite a lot. Those would probably be up there. There's probably plenty more, but those are the ones that immediately spring to mind. In terms of favourite YouTube channel for other railway content, I don't think I do. The reason I say that is because all the channels that I watch upload a variety of content, be it railway related or what. But in terms of railway ones, I haven't got a favourite, because they're throwing their own unique blends and styles in there that suit them perfectly well. One thing I have noticed is that a lot of people now are imitating what I do. In terms, if they're using commentary, they're using a very similar style of presentation that I use. I don't mind that. I can't, very well claim titles and words. They're free to do as they please, but they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. But every YouTube channel that I watch who does railway content, I always love watching their content, and it gives me ideas of places to go to. So I enjoy watching a lot of channels. Every channel I watch is absolutely superb, but I can't say I have an outright favourite, because they're all absolutely superb in my eyes. And thanks for your time to read and answer these, and have a great day to you and the viewers watching too. Also, great videos by the way. Thank you very much, and thank you for those questions. The one about boys on social media was a bit weird, but the others were superb. We've got time for a couple more. David Poole, do you have any plans to come up to Glasgow and or Edinburgh to do some filming? Yes, I have every intention to come up and do those. When that will be, I cannot say just yet. Connor George, could you do an episode on the LT and S line? Isn't that like London something and Shrewsbury and S line? The C2C line, I think. Is that right? If that is, the only station I actually ever go to is Rainham, because you obviously get the C2 line line going to Grays. Obviously you got High Speed 1 running back and forth. I'll go there once Eurostar are back to operating a full service timetable. I've got time for a few more. Aviation in every way. Hi mate, which station do you prefer spotting at? Warrington Bank Quay or Wigan North Western? Can you film some of them in the future? Was it Warrington Bank Hill or Wigan North Western? I think it was. I think Wigan North Western is the better of the two because you've got the lower line where the northern trains come in as well. Warrington Bank Quay, at least when I went, I thought was very disappointing. But I have seen plenty of videos from there and even photos on social media when people have gone there for a couple of hours and caught some fantastic traction coming through. So, but from what I've been to so far, it'd be Wigan North Western. Alex Train Spotter HD. I've got 2 questions, if I may, and this will take me to my limit. Question 1, do you like the cross-country HSTs and Great Western Railway Castle sets? Yeah, I think they're absolutely fantastic. I love the Great Western Railway have utilised the HSTs and they're still keeping them using. Okay, much for smaller services, i.e. the Cardiff to Penzance runs and Plymouth to Bristol Temple Meads, but I think it's great that they're still utilising them. And cross-country, I'd actually love to see them use former LNER and EMR HSTs and have many, many more services because they could really do with that extra capacity. And 2, would you ever consider going to Cornwall to film? Yeah, I really want to go down to that neck of the woods and actually do some filming on some of the branch lines and obviously through the main line that runs through the Cornish countryside. And what's the time? I think we'll do one more from Scott Whittingham. Do you have a favourite steam train? I do, and it would be Tornado. Because obviously my channel is named after Tornado, and I've actually got a 00 scale model of Tornado, which I haven't actually run for quite some time, so I will actually do that when I go to my Model Railway Club. But yeah, it would be Tornado. Right, well, thank you everybody so far who have contributed. I will be getting the second part filmed later on. I won't do it now as it's currently 1:45 in the morning and I have to get myself a little bit of kip as I've got to get up for work tomorrow. So you'll forgive me if I'm a bit sporadic in getting these uploaded, but rest assured that part 2 will be filmed very soon and it will be up in the next coming days for you. So I hope you all have a lovely week. I hope you all continue to enjoy the content which I produce for you guys, and I shall catch you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Goodbye.